Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another weekly round of Veg Networking, where vegan entrepreneurs and business owners connect and collaborate. And we have a special guest with us today. And this entrepreneur has a background in software product management, including the creation of mobile apps, providing access to whole foods, plant-based recipes. This entrepreneur is now in the food space with plant-based offerings of the burger, cheesecake, and different types of sauces with zero additives and preservatives. This entrepreneur has a love for the great outdoors, bicycling, skiing, tennis, ping pong, and cricket. Ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming the owner and co-founder of Plantastic Food, Sanit Jain.
Thank you, Justin. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome to Veg Networking, Sanit. And what we're going to dive into as our special guest is we're going to learn a little bit more about you from a personal vegan plant-based standpoint, and as well more about your business, what's new, what took you to where you are today, and where you're going to be going in the future. So our first question is centered around a personal story of yours, and that is your origin story around plant-based veganism.
Perfect. Yeah, and this story dates back a few years. About 13 years ago, my father passed away with a heart attack, and it was like quite sudden, and we didn't know what really happened, and it was obviously devastating for the family. But then, you know, I got myself and my younger brother, who's 5 years younger than me, got tested, and we found out that we have a genetic disposition for higher cholesterol levels, which meant that, you know, our cholesterol would always be high as per the doctors, and we'd always be at a high risk of heart disease. And that was like seeing what had happened with the family and going through that myself was really eye-opening and really lit a fire under me that, you know, I need to change this. I started researching, read a few books that I was lucky to be reading. And then about a few years later, I fully transitioned to a plant-based diet. Fully gave away, so I grew up as a vegetarian, but dairy was a huge part of our diet, with yogurt and dairy-based sauces and curries and things like that. So it was very hard at the beginning, but, you know, instantly, I would say in 3 to 5 months time, yeah, I was amazed. I was pretty much blown away how quickly things change in your body. So as soon as I went fully plant-based, in 5 months, I realized that my cholesterol has gone into the acceptable range and has never elevated since. So the doctors told me that I had to live with high cholesterol or heart disease all my life, but it instantly changed. So I'm so grateful that I was able to get to this stage where I am, and some of the great people, some of the great books written out there, some of the movies that I watched on Netflix. As an example, a movie that really sparked this whole thing was Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Where this Australian entrepreneur goes on a juice fast for a few days or a few months and has amazing results. And that got me thinking about this. And I'm so glad that I did this, and I'm here now.
That is one powerful story in terms of a switch and an origin story. There's nothing closer to home. So thank you for sharing that, and just amazing. In terms of origin stories for entrepreneurship, though, where did that come for you, and when did that start?
Yeah, so again, a great question. So it's been about 7 years that I've been fully plant-based. Being plant-based was a bit of a challenge because in the beginning it was like, what do you eat, like salads or like lettuce? But that was like a common perception, right? And I mean, that's not really sustainable. At least for me, it was not sustainable. So I tried to experiment with recipes. I tried to cook more, especially when I got my master's in the US. So that was when I left home and away from my mother's food and into a new country where I had to cook for myself, discover thing. So I started cooking, I started enjoying it more, and started experimenting with flavors. So I would say I've become good at it. And then last year, um, I was thinking about, hey, how can I apply my skills to benefit the community? And we came up with the concept of Plantastic, where our mission really is to make the world a healthier place with food. And that's why we decided that we're right now in the business of products, but we don't want to be just a product company. We want to be something that can change the world, something that can make the world eat healthier, something that can prevent the things that I experienced personally in my story. So that was why we started Plantastic.
So your entrepreneurial origin story is a direct result of your own plant-based origin story, and the entrepreneurship started about how long ago did you say? A year and a half, 2 years?
So it's almost been a year and a half now. So we started in June 2019.
Excellent. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that is Niti.
So I started with my co-founder Shipra,
Okay.
who's no longer with us, but we started this beautiful project together.
Got it. Excellent. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So in terms of trends in your industry, what are some that you have noticed recently?
Yeah, very recently, actually, the shift towards more sustainable packaging is a big shift that I'm seeing, and what I'm trying to do more is respect that and make sure we come up with a sustainable packaging. So the packaging right now we have on our burgers is fully recyclable, but I want to move towards a compostable packaging. So I see that as a huge trend in the industry, and I think it's great. It's better for the environment. It's overall it's really better a choice, both from a consumer and a manufacturer point of view.
And with that being said, you've noticed that yourself and trying to be maybe ahead of the curve there. Have you had people asking for that, or how have you been picking up on this trend?
Yeah, we ran our farmers market for the last season, as well as this season. So this season started in June. This is where we started prepackaged food. Last year we were doing mostly like cooking plant-based food on site. So when we started prepackaged food, we started talking to a lot of people who were at the booth. They were really concerned about packaging. They really said that they really value obviously having a better planet for all of us. So they were concerned about the packaging. And that's where we learned that more and more people are really asking us about better packaging opportunities. And in fact, even for our own reflection, I think it was a good reflection to have, to be able to impact the environment, not only like with the products and the health aspect that we have, but going that one step further, taking that one step further and saying that not only that, we're also going to impact the environment. So that opened our eyes a little bit. People usually also like emailed us after they had our package and said, hey, is this compostable? Is it recyclable? So there were a lot of questions from people, and that's where we picked up that this is a really important part of a trend in the industry.
Yeah, it just goes to show the consumers will, if you're willing to listen, they will tell you what they want. And we've had conversations with other businesses who are, past a year and a half, well into year three, four, and whatnot, who are wildly successful, who had their start from farmers markets and figuring out as an R&D project almost what's needed in the market and how can we provide that. So sounds like you're on track to achieve all these big, hairy, audacious goals that you have set for yourself, which is amazing. These are the kind of conversations we love having. Next question is, where is, aside from possibly what you just said about enhanced compostable packaging, other than that, where is Plantastic Food headed in the next, I don't know, 12, 24, 36 months?
Fantastic question. I think about that every day, Justin. So, when we thought really about the mission of Plantastic, we didn't just want to be a product or a consumer product focused company. We want to be an encompassing value-based company that wants to do good in the world. I think that the one big, hairy, audacious goal that we have is impact the lives of more than 1 billion people by creating awareness about the plant-based eating, as well as providing accessible products that are made with natural ingredients, no chemicals, no added preservatives, and are just food. So if you flip the package over and you read the ingredients, every single thing is food and it's recognizable. That's ultimately the goal of where Plantastic is heading. And products is just the start of it. Product is a good way to understand the market, good way to understand what our customers are asking, what are they excited about. But then taking that one step further into creating that level of awareness about the benefits of plant-based eating. Some people have questions about should I just eat greens, or what is plant-based? We want to empower people so that they can cook their own meals and don't have to be dependent on what's out there. I think real empowerment and real change will come from education. And this is what we're planning. Like one of our big goals going forward is as many people as we can educate about how do they improve their health with plant-based eating. I think we would consider us as a successful company if we can reach at least a billion people in the next few years.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you said that, because that's what I was hearing from you, is you're moving or incorporating probably more SKUs into the lineup of products and more offerings on that side, but also moving towards education and folding that into the company. And so happy to hear you say that, because that's exactly what I was hearing, is moving towards more education and awareness and conversation, to be frank, based on facts and science. And amazing. Next question is in terms of giving back. And we're always interested to know, and there's no right or wrong answer, even if it's none right now. And that is Plantastic supporting any specific charitable organizations?
Yeah, so I personally support one charitable organization called Doctors Without Borders. They're basically helping people with medical urgent care at conflict areas. And I think they're doing such impactful work that I personally support them. And I think also from a Plantastic's point of view, we also support Charity Water. That's an organization that's dedicated to bringing clean drinking water to different parts of the world. And there is a bit of a story behind that. And I come from a country and from a city where water is still a very precious resource. There were times I remember during my childhood that, there would be times when we would get fresh water, and the rest of the times there wouldn't be any fresh water available. So we would collect all the water, store it, and then use that water. So we had to be very diligent about using water. And I know that there are places that are worse than that. And Charity Water is actually helping build local communities and educating people on ways to collect water, not only from rainwater, but also like helping them build wells. So they're really empowering, and they're really creating a change in the world by bringing drinking water to some of these areas. And I personally identify very well with them, and that's why we support them in all what they do.
Both amazing causes to support, that's for sure. And personally speaking, I remember taking a trip to Africa and seeing the lens at which they look at water through as not a valuable resource, almost the most valuable resource. And I can't recall the CEO and founder of Charity Water's name off the top of my head, but I've heard him speak plenty around leadership, giving back, and entrepreneurship. And so valiant causes to support indeed. Next is, in terms of books, podcasts, apps, things that you use or have used from an entrepreneurial lens have helped you in your success over the course of the last year and a half?
Yeah, fantastic question again. Like I just finished this book about a few weeks ago. It's called Mindset. by Dr. Carol Dweck. And especially as an entrepreneur, I really was impacted by that book. The book basically talks about two kinds of mindsets people have: fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is basically saying that my intelligence is limited, my skills are limited, and I don't want to take on challenges because I want to appear smart because I can do the things that I do today. But a growth mindset is saying that, hey, I want to really grow, I want to learn. I think skills are not finite, and intelligence is something that can be developed over time if you put in the effort and the hard work to do that. And so my background, as you said in the beginning, in my intro, my background is software product manager and product management. So I've studied engineering, I've studied computer science all my life, and to be able to do something very different required that understanding of a growth mindset that, I can do this, and I'm not only relying on my past skills. I mean, they're coming in handy, but I am open to developing new skills. And if I put the right effort and time and get the right resources, talk to the right people, I can develop these new skills. So I think that book has really given me a lot of uh, I would say a lot of motivation towards my entrepreneurship journey and where we are with Plantastic.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm sure we've all heard of the difference between the growth and the fixed mindset and how important the growth mindset is. And I've actually heard this book by Dr. Carol Dweck recommended before, so definitely going to dive into that.
Actually, another book. Sorry, before you, I want to talk about this book because I think for any entrepreneurs that are listening, it's very impactful because I'm also doing I'm right now doing a day job as well, and focusing on Plantastic. So it becomes really difficult sometimes to manage time. So this book, it's called The Miracle Morning. It's by an author named Hal Elrod, and in short, he just talks about how to get the most out of your time before 8 a.m. So what are some of the daily routines that you can do involving meditation, affirmations, visualizations, and there are certain techniques in there that he talks about that help you move towards your goals and intrinsically, subconsciously, and get to be able to do that work upfront in the morning when you have no other distractions. And I've been at the both end of the spectrum. I've tried working evenings, and it didn't quite work for me because I was tired. I have a baby as well, my family life. I don't want to concentrate only on work and get burnt out and not focus on my family. So with this book gave me the tools, technologies to be able to do that in the morning. So I get up at 4 a.m. now and get most of my Plantastic work done in the morning before I head out to my actual day job. And then in the evening, I have time to focus on family.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And I've also heard of that book before as well. And you're right. You mentioned that you get up at 4 a.m. That's obviously the key. One of the keys, the biggest key to success is maybe not getting up at 4 a.m. But if you're trying to maximize maximizing what you get done by 8 a.m., you can't be getting up at 7:30. So, and as well too, I think to dovetail off of that, another interesting little hack I think for entrepreneurs is whatever the time is for you, and even if it is 8 a.m., not to make any shame anybody. Let's say it's 8 a.m. is when they're getting up. But one hack I've heard that really works really well is making sure, and even if you don't have to because you're an entrepreneur and nobody's looking over your shoulder, but getting up at the same time every day, regardless of what the time is, but making sure it's the same time every single day.
Exactly. I couldn't disagree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so last two here. So number 7, in terms of other brands or other entrepreneurs that you look up to, get guidance from, keep an ear to the street for, learn from, and all of that, are there any, whether they're local or abroad or wherever, are there any other entrepreneurs or brands that you just absolutely love and want and will always support?
Yes. One of my top favorite brands and people as well is the Happy Pair. So they're a twin brothers set of twin brothers based out of Ireland, that are doing some amazing things with their business, especially like uh, the reason why I really love them is I kind of have similar goals as them in creating awareness about plant-based eating. Um, there, I started following them on YouTube where they post their recipes. Then I followed them on Instagram and the things that they're doing. They're not only sharing the plant their love for plant-based, but they're creating awareness and education, and they have really great. So they're really great practices. So for example, I love that in the mornings they do cold sea diving, which is one of the things I want to do as well. So there are a few things that they do so well that I'm really inspired, and I've really followed their career, and I love the way they do things, and I really respect them and their brand.
Yeah, the Happy Pair, so their CPG line, their consumer product good line has blown up and is just, a staple of so many different retail stores, like you mentioned, where they live in Ireland. And then as well too, they're getting their feet really wet in their bakery that they've also launched as well too. So and yeah, one thing that I like about the Happy Pair that I'm sure you share is their humor. I think humor is a lost art of sorts, and can really help in educating about plant-based and not making it a blame game or anything like that, and just being really humble in the approach. So that says a lot about you, that you see a lot of value in what they provide, because I agree. um, Alrighty, now as we get close to the end of time and into our last question, it's always prefaced the same way because most people don't really like to overstep their boundaries. But with that being said, we are asking for your advice. Do you have any advice for other entrepreneurs that are listening to this?
Uh, yeah, I would love if I can help any other entrepreneur, with some success. Always, I mean, prefacing that I'm also very new in this business, so take my advice with a pinch of salt. But I've a set of two things that I would tell maybe any budding entrepreneur in the plant-based industry is, getting to know your customers really well. Um, I think even within the plant-based market, there are a few subsegments of customers who care about compassion for animals, customers who care about the environment, customers who care about health, and customers who care about these concepts together. So knowing your industry and your customers really well is very important. One way that I've had success, or at least some level of success in knowing who my customers are, is by going to farmers market myself and talking to customers. So when customers approach my booth, I want to sell to them, of course, but I want to also talk to them about my story, learn about their story, learn about the emotions behind what attracts them to plant-based or veganism. Some people are fully into plant-based veganism. Some people want to try, some people want to check it out. Some people want to like, hey, what's this new thing? So understanding their emotions and understanding their story helps you understand your target market, helps you just get a better connection with your brand. And when you're marketing either on social or email, I think that connection is something that will help you succeed. And I think that starts with really knowing who your customers really are.
Absolutely. And I think that you threw up a two-parter, right? So the first part was getting to know your customer. Did I miss the second one, or?
Yes, I didn't say the second one, so thank you. The other thing, especially in the consumer food industry with ready to eat foods, I think it's so important to test your product before going big bang. So my advice is to select a few potential customers, either uh, and more so people that you don't know, people that don't want to make you feel better. So if you talk to your friend and say, hey, how's my product? They'll be like, your product is awesome. It is amazing. Don't change anything. But if you get the same feedback potentially from someone who doesn't know you. They might give you more critical feedback or more constructive feedback. So my advice is to get your products tested and continuously try to make improvements, and don't be under the, like, as people who create products and as entrepreneurs, we're passionate and we're always think our products is the best. But I think have a have a unbiased opinion about your product, and get a great opinion or set of great opinions from other people who don't have a bias. That way you can understand what's wrong with your product, how can you improve product. And no tastes are similar, right? So if you get your products tasted by a good sample size, then you can at least craft a better product by understanding what you need to change.
Awesome. So the advice is listen to the customer, and whatever the product might be, whatever the product or service might be, is to test it with people who aren't going to, who don't know you, because you want an unbiased approach. And then I think the third part to that I caught was, as an entrepreneur too, part of your advice might be, correct me if I'm wrong, but have the humility to actually change. If something needs to be pivoted and adjusted and change, have the ability to do that. And I think that you're right. And the ability to get to that change or pivot quicker is a big difference maker as well too. So not dragging your feet on changing, but when it's time to change or pivot, making sure that it's done. So,
and farmers market is a great place for that. Like we've changed our recipe like 20 times already in the last 6 months.
Wow. Well, in terms of your burgers, cheesecakes, and sauces, I can't wait to try, Sanit. And as we always do with our special guests, we leave the floor with you if there's anything that you would like to share with those who are listening.
I would just say for any new entrepreneurs that are watching this, don't be overwhelmed by how much you can dream. Just dream how much ever you can. Don't set boundaries on what your dreams are. There are limitless possibilities if you have a growth mindset, and if you put the work together. I think no dream is unattainable, is what I live by, and what my advice would be.
Wonderful. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our special guest conversation with the owner and co-founder of Plantastic Food, Sanit Jain. And you can find them on Instagram, plant_astic_food, and on the web at www.plantasticfood.ca. Thank you so much, Sanit. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Justin. Take care.